In the book of Revelation, John is on the island of Patmos in the Aegean, addressing a letter to the 7 churches of Asia. The entire book of Revelations constitutes the letter. The letters to the 7 churches are introductions to the rest of the book, which is addressed to all. Now the question is what they are. I am the Alpha and Omega, the first and last. And what thou seest, write in a book, and send it unto the 7 churches which are in Asia, unto Ephesus, and unto Smyrna, and unto Pergamos, and unto Thyatira, and unto Sardis, and unto Philadelphia, and unto Laodicea. The 7 churches of Asia represent 7 different spiritual conditions that the church goes throughout history. The first is literal, historical. The churches did, of course, exist. The second is spiritual, prophetic. The churches represent 7 different spiritual conditions that any particular congregation may be in at any specific time. The third is future, prophetic. The churches represent 7 consecutive periods in the history of the church. These stages of historical, spiritual, and prophetic are on a political level. On the alchemical internal level, the 7 churches are the 7 main nervous centers of the spinal medulla in the human being. Within these nervous centers are spirals of energy, vortexes that the East calls chakras, which are psychological centers. Each chakra has its own level of awareness that when balanced leads to illumination, enlightenment. First, I will discuss the allegory on the political level. Then I will go into the esoteric level within the individual. The book of Revelation is a broad view of history. It is a broad view of the unveiling of history. Just because it's put in the back of the Bible doesn't mean it's events taking place only at the so-called end time. The unveiling of knowledge is a gradual process that is taking place within history. It is also the gradual unveiling of knowledge within you, my dear, most noble and esteemed viewer. Ephesus, Revelation chapter 2, verses 1 through 7 is not lasting. Spiritually, it lost its first love due to Saul, known as Paul's infiltration, combined with Peter's misunderstanding. The original teachings of John the Baptist and Yeshua became misconstrued. Smyrna, Revelation chapter 2, verses 8 through 11. Bitter sweetness. The church persecuted under the Roman emperors. Due to terrorists causing the Great Fire of Rome that lasted a week, Emperor Nero made Christianity illegal. During that time, there were the Gnostic Christians under the teachings of John the Baptist and Mary Magdalene, and the literalists that followed Paul and Peter. Even though these 2 schisms were completely different, in the eyes of Nero they were the same. Anyone who was known to follow any branch was fed to wild animals, such as lions on the den or other wild beasts. Pergamos, Revelation chapter 2, verses 12 through 17. Divorce. The church has divorced itself from the source as it became spiritually bankrupted, as it became mixed with the world. Emperor Constantine, during the 3rd century, with the Council of Nicaea, decided what is accepted and what is not due to political control. Those misconstrued teachings of Paul and Peter were accepted as they changed some of the other teachings to fit their agenda. The main former religion, Mithraism, was mixed to create a comfort zone, while the teachings that taught personal power were discarded as heresy. Thyatira, Revelation chapter 2, verses 18 through 29, reveals how evil progresses in the church and idolatry is practiced, such as the early Holy Roman Empire. The church indulges in worshiping external gods while shirking self-responsibility and persecuting anyone who defiles them. defies them. The Order of St. John, known as the Hospitallers, were founded in 1070 and became a papal order in 1113. Individuals involved in the Crusades achieved an exalted status. Knights could be priests, which blurred the differences between military, nobility, and clergy, and increased the elevation in all these departments. Today they are known as the Knights of Malta, which is linked to the Holy See, but at the same time it is independent as a sovereign subject of international law. The state and religion were one. This reign of Charlemagne lasted until the end of the Crusades in 1290 AD. In the year 1128, the Poor Knights of Christ and the Temple of Solomon, also called the Knights Templar. They were a purely military order who had a different goal than what the mission of the corrupt church was. While the church goal was to spread this Christianity globally, this Christianity created by the Emperor Constantine totally have nothing to do with Yeshua ben Joseph or the teachings of the Christ, the seventh dimensional Palladian who incarnated on earth, whose actual name was Sananda. So none of those organizations had anything to do with those teachings, and everything to do with control of the population and the disempowerment of the individual. So Sardis, moving on, I don't want to go much over that, but Sardis, the Revelations chapter 3, verses 1 through 6, is a representative of the church as dead, yet still having a minority of godly men and women as during the Reformation. At the end of the Crusades, the church was very corrupt. People were oppressed and illiterate. The church didn't want people to be able to read and write because they could easily see through the bastardized plagiarism of other religions, creating this new institutional system. Illiterates just accepted what was spoon-fed to them about what they were told as truth. Art and science were suppressed during the cultural and economic deterioration. Martin Luther left the Roman Catholic Church and started the Protestant Reformation. The Freemasons and the Rosicrucians supported Martin Luther in hoping that the protesters would be more tolerant of other beliefs than the Roman Christianity. The Roman Catholic founded the Society of Jesus, also called Jesuits, in order to fight against the Protestants. The good that came from it is during the Renaissance. The Renaissance is that the Roman Catholic Church was weakened, allowing people to become educated while art and the cultural arts flourished. Unfortunately, the Protestants were just as intolerant as the Roman Catholic Church was. The Protestants are basically watered down Roman Catholic ideology. The Philadelphia Church, Revelations chapter 3, verses 7 through 13, shows revival and a state of spiritual advance. The American Revolution in 1776 made way for the new Atlantis, called America. America was created by the Founding Fathers to have a society that is secular and separate from the church. Church and state separate. The founders continued the job of the Knights Templar. Most of the Founding Fathers were Freemasons or Rosicrucian or both. This country was founded to be a democracy that was meant to be secular. We had enough of the monarchy that exists in Britain. That is why we formed our own country as America, this new Atlantis. Unfortunately, it has degenerated into a plutocracy where the wealthy rule despite their knowledge and skill. Republicans have been pushing for a permanent aristocracy, which is what our Founding Fathers fought to oppose. What we strive for is a solution where creative intelligence and compassion governs, giving everyone equal opportunity. There are two angles that attack this idea of what this new Atlantis was supposed to be. That is the privilege, who you know, and the know-it-all, who consider themselves to be self-appointed experts. This democracy in this country has degenerated into a self-appointed expert Protestant ideology of Satanists, of child-molesting, transgendered Satanists. The Protestant movement created a lot of know-it-all mentality. People are allowed to vote on things they know nothing about. If the ignorant votes, what do you expect the outcome to be? A bunch of dumbed-down people trapped in the third dimension, digital matrix, faces stuck in their smartphones in perpetuum, being fed what to believe. So capitalists are brilliant at manipulating people because their whole purpose is to create consumers, a nation of consumers, seduce people to being trapped in the third dimension based on their lower energy chakras, their survival energies of sex and eating and all that. Instead of being educated and more, and pursuing knowledge and spiritual advancement, you have a nation of consumers. So, what are we going to do about that, folks? Hit that subscribe button, leave this video a thumbs up. This country was meant to be the new Atlantis. It was meant to embrace diversity and spiritual knowledge, just like the old Atlantis was, based upon spiritual values and the pursuit of a spiritual advancement and ascension, not become some satanic digital freak show. If you agree, hit that subscribe button, leave this video a thumbs up.
Namaste. Namaskaram.